Hi everyone, so today we're going to be looking at all the new weapon attributes that were introduced in the Fire Emblem Warriors DLC that came out a couple of days ago. The reason why I want to talk about these is because I know there will be a lot of questions regarding which one you would want to have, which is very fair because obviously you don't want to shortchange yourself by picking the wrong thing. And really what it does come down to obviously would be taste, but there were 4 new skills that were introduced. The first one would probably be the legendary skill. This is pretty nice because it upgrades the weaker weapons, so if you're finding yourself very early on in your progression and you want to have your bronze weapon or your other weapon, pretty much any like low levels weapon that you have, and you want to have more damage so that you can finally work your way towards getting Opus unique weapons, then this would be the thing you would do. Otherwise though, it's a big 6000 KO skill that you have to unlock, and it does sort of affect the value of your weapons. Really, like, most of the value does come from skills like that, and how many slots are filled up, and how many slots it even has in the first place, so it's more just for earning money on the side. The second one I want to talk about is acceleration. You guys probably already know this by now, but yes, it is the exact same effect of Astra, and no, it does not stack, which is unfortunate. But the reason why is because I feel that the game developers made this particular weapon attribute because they knew that it was kind of essential for every character in the entire game to have Astra because it was just such a useful skill. It's very reliable. It's not necessarily overpowered or anything like that. It just made the game feel that much better as a result, and that's what the whole point is. They wanted to make sure that we had more customization options available so that if you don't want to sacrifice one of your 6 slots and instead you want to trade that for one of your 6 weapon attribute slots, then this is the thing that you would go for. Unfortunately, acceleration, amped, and Bolster all fall under the same category, so that was a little bit of an oversight, and maybe that was intentional, probably. So there won't be as much use for acceleration except for some very key exceptions. Acceleration would probably be best suited for things like casters like Robin or Tharja, just because they don't have very many in the way of mandatory weapon attributes, and they can plenty invest in all the skills that they have available to them since they have all 6 to work with. Now, the thing I wanted to talk about the most, though, was Amped and Bolster. This is going to be a topic of discussion for a lot of people that play this game, due to the fact that they're both very, very useful stuff. So the first one I want to talk about is Bolster. The thing about Bolster is that it increases the effects of attack and boost abilities. Boost abilities being things like Warrior Plus, Pair Up Plus, or Critical Plus, any of those abilities. And the cool thing about this is that with Bolster on your weapon, and then with Paired Up Plus and Solidarity, you'll be on more even footing with the Lone Wolf without having to actually sacrifice your pair-ups, which would be nice because, you know, you can get that quick guard going in. So yeah, that would be what Bolster is all about. It also boosts the effects of things like Rainstorm, Strong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are pretty cool stuff, so it should be pretty obvious that at that point, if you find that your weapon has mostly all those abilities on it, then Bolster might be the better choice. In fact, I would actually go as far as to say that Bolster is the best one overall, and then Amped would be kind of invested in certain characters that are exceptions to this rule. Amped is pretty straightforward. It accelerates all the stats by 20%. Except for movement. It's really, really cool because the reason why Amped would kind of be considered in comparison to Bolster, which tends to be more all around, in my opinion anyway, is that there are certain characters on the roster that actually have exceptional stats overall. So we're actually going to go ahead and look at the training ground so we have a good idea of what people look like at 150. The first person that comes to mind, actually, whenever I thought about whenever I think about high stats, is going to be Elise. I believe Elise has the highest stats in any of the characters in this entire roster due to the fact that her strength is so low. But if you bring her all the way up to 150, you'll actually find that she has 206 resistance, 205 resistance. Yeah, 205. Am I counting that right? Yes, we are. And because we bring that up by 20%, obviously because it's such a high number, you're actually going to find that the values will be that much higher because you're doing it by percentage. So you multiply that by 1.2 for the additional 20%, and that becomes 246. 246 in her resistance is quite cool because, again, we do have the stat flip ability, which means that she will actually have the highest magic damage in the entire game. So Elise would definitely be an exception. Another great exception that I also wanted to mention is my girl, Anna. My girl. Okay, so at 150, she has, let's see, on her luck stat, 171 luck. So go ahead and do the math right now. I have my calculator, sorry. And it's 205 luck. overall, 205 luck, and as we all know, luck is a very important offensive stat. It's really, really nice just because there will be certain skills that do sort of bring up more of that in terms of viability. Like, certain stats do tend to matter more than others, particularly when it comes to things like skill and luck. I find that those are personally the most important out of all of them. So obviously you would go to a character like Takumi. Actually, let's look at Takumi right now. Might as well, now that we're here. Takumi, I believe, still has the highest skill stat in the entire game, and this is really cool because this means that his critical strikes and his dual warrior specials would do the most damage. So yeah, he would have 204 when he's completely maxed out. Go ahead and then give yourself the amped. That's gonna be about, it's 244.8 on the calculator, but I guess they would round that up to 245. So that's kind of what it is though. Every character that has just a lot of a certain stat, you would feel more justified as a result. Not to mention that, particularly with the characters from the Shadow Dragon DLC pack, they were more optimized in terms of their stat spreads, where they would have super high like luck and skill, and so characters like Minerva would definitely be considered, but Bolster would be for the characters that aren't as lucky to have stats like that, and that is exactly what we're going for over here. So yeah, that basically about does it. Obviously, there will be the degree of taste that you guys have. You might prefer to have certain stats over others, or you might prefer to have more emphasis on your critical hits, Parrot Plus, Warrior Plus, anything like that. It really just all does come down to playstyle, but that's exactly what the point of this video is that if you want to emphasize a certain stat that a certain character has, then go for amped, particularly for Elise, Takumi, and Anna. But if not, then Bolster would definitely be worthy of your consideration as well. Anyways, guys, thanks very, very much for joining me, and as usual, I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys look forward to it. Take care, everyone.